Okay, so now we're recording. Sorry about that. All right, so now finding the slope, the first thing you want to remember is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, now what we're going to do is, if you recall, we can use the points and plug the points in, or we can just say, how did I get from one point to the other point? So with that, we went from this point here, and then we went over here. Now, if you recall, we called this delta y, and we called this down here delta x. So delta is just the change. So we went down 3 units. So delta y is -3, and delta x is equal to 1. All right, so your slope is equal to -3. Anybody have any questions with that? All right, just remember, speak up if you have any questions, okay? So now let's take a look at number 3. Now, they don't give you the line. Now you just use the formula. M equals, again, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, if you recall, this is x1, this is y1, this is x2, and this is y2. So when we do this, all right, we're going to go -5 minus -3 over -7 minus -9. All right, so from there, we have now pluses. So this becomes -2 over +2, which is -1. All right, so the slope for number 3 is -1. All right, now number 5. Slope for y's, 9 minus 9, over subtract the x's, 3 minus 5, 0 over -2. Remember, 0 over anything is, in fact, 0. Okay? Anybody have any questions? All right, let's check out number 7. Okay, now on these problems, what they're telling you is they're missing the x coordinate. Now, personally, for me, I think they should just make that x. All right, and they're asking you, if the slope is 1/4, then what's this x value? All right, so again, we're just writing m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in this case, the slope is 1/4, and so that would be 5 minus 3 over r minus -4, which is +4. And now if we simplify that, 5 minus 3 is 2. So 2 over r plus 4 is equal to 1/4. Now, of course, we just cross multiply. R plus 4 times 1 is equal to 8. So the r value, or the x coordinate, was 4. All right, does anybody have any questions with that one? All right, that's the important one. All right, where you have to find the missing coordinate. All right, now we're back to writing the equations of lines, okay? Now, again, what I want to do is I want to highlight and review, because we have 3 forms you're responsible for. All right, the first form is slope-intercept. So I want everybody to write underneath slope-intercept, y equals mx plus b. Don't forget, m, obviously we talked about it already, represents the slope, and b represents the y-intercept. All right, 0b, which is called the y-intercept. All right, now this one's pretty simple. Number 9 is pretty simple for one reason. right? It gives you b, and it gives you m. All right? So when you put this into the equation, it's just y equals 1/4 x plus 3. All right? Now, again, obviously, that's the really easy one, okay? But that's a review of slope-intercept form. All right, now let's take a look at number 11. All right, so in order to write it in slope-intercept form, I always tell kids the first thing you should do is go ahead and write y equals mx plus b. And m, we need to figure out what the slope is. So what I want to do is I want to look at this point right here, and I'm going to this point right here. So I went up 2, then I went over that amount. So we can say that delta y is equal to 2, and then delta x was 1, 2, 3, 4, was 5. So I know the slope is 2/5. And then I'm looking for the y-intercept, which is just where the line crosses the y-axis, which in this case is 2. So my equation, y equals 2/5 x plus 2. Anybody have any questions? Any questions?
Mr. Stroud, can you go back to number 5?
Sure, what you need on number 5?
I'm a little confused. Can you go over it again? I was a little confused
Okay,
on
so
how you did it.
here we go. Remember, this is x1, y1, x2, y2.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Stroud. I meant number 7 with the R.
That's okay. It's all right. Let's look right here. Now, it's the same principle, right? This is x1, this is y1, x2, y2. So essentially, I'm not sure why they chose r, but I think it should be x, but it doesn't matter because we're simply subtracting, right? To find the slope, we're going to do y2 minus y1. So that's where I got 5 minus 3. You okay with that?
Yeah.
And then we have to do x2 minus x1. So it's r minus -4, which is r plus 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just a matter of cross multiplying.
Oh, okay.
So I did r plus 4 times 1, and then we did 2 times 4.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Okay, so let's take a look now at 13. All right, super important. Everybody should know how to graph. So on this problem, we're going 3y equals 2x minus 6. If you recall, we got to put it in slope-intercept form, so we divide by 3. So now we say y equals 2/3 x minus 2. Just as a quick reminder, m equals 2/3. Your y-intercept is 0, -2. So the first thing is we always graph the y-intercept first. So 0, -2. So I'm going to plot that point first. 0, -2. Then from there, I'm going to use the slope, and I'm going to go up 2 and to the right 3. Because remember, slope is delta y over delta x. So I'm going up 2. I'm going to make another point. Up 2 to the right 3. All right, and now it's just safe to draw the graph. Anybody have any questions with how to graph? All right, let's continue on to 15. Okay, so now we want to write the equation of the line passing through the point. So the point here is -1, -3, and the slope is equal to -1. All right, and we want it in slope-intercept form. All right, so we need it in the form y equals mx plus b. But for you guys, all right, there's another form that I want you to remember. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. This is referred to as point slope form. Now, most advanced math, your Algebra 2, pre-calculus, and calculus, you write in that format point slope, just simply because it's the easiest form. Okay, so again, -1 represents x1, -3 represents y1. So we just plug this point and this slope in here, all right? So y minus -3 equals -1 times x minus -1. All right, so obviously you don't have to show all that work. I'm just making sure because it is a review. So the double negatives make a positive, so that's y plus 3 equals -1 times x plus 1. So if they said write it in point slope form, that'd be fine, but they didn't. They want you to transfer it over to this format, y equals mx plus b. So to do that should be easy. Y plus 3 equals -x minus 1. Then subtract 3, obviously, from both sides, which we don't have to do that. We can just say y equals -x minus 4. Now, please remember, this is a great review for graphing lines. So if I'm not clear, just speak up, all right? And I'll go slower, or do whatever you need. Everybody good? All right, so let's look at number 17, okay? So again, this is x1 and y1, and this is your slope. So we can do y minus 7 equals 2/7 times x minus 3. And again, if you remember, that's called point slope form. But I need to convert it to slope intercept. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 2/7. Now let's practice your fractions and make sure you're good. Y minus 7 equals 2/7 x minus 6/7. All right, then you're going to add 7 to both sides. Now add 7. So y equals 2/7 x. Now remember, 7 is the same as 49 over 7. So 49 minus 6. So that would be positive 43/7. All right. Any questions with the fractions at all? Anybody? Nobody? Okie doke. Now, don't forget, I'm just going to highlight number 8 because I just glanced at it. If the slope is 0, it's always y equals whatever the y value is. Okay, so in this case, the y value is 0. So the answer number 18 is just y equals 0. When you're done. All right, let's take a look at 19 now. Same principle here. Now, what I want to do here is I want this. I think I forgot when I made this worksheet. Let's just leave it as a point slope format. Okay, we're going to put point slope form. Make it easier. All right, for now, because we still have to review standard form too. Okay. So remember point slope, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I want to find the slope here. So the first thing I want to do on my graph, say I went from this point right here, and then I went over this way. So, well, and actually I don't, if I blow this up, I can see, can you see how these points are easier? So I can just say I went over this, right? So tell me please if you don't see that the slope is -1. All right, because this, we could say delta y equals -4 and delta x equals 4. But I was just looking even better at just saying this and this movement, okay? So now I know the slope is -1. You can choose either one of those points, either 4, 1, or 0, 5. And I'm going to write both equations just so you're not confused, but you only have to write one. So y minus the y value, and I'm going to choose this one first. So it'll be y minus 1 equals -1 times x minus 4. Or if you choose the other one over here, the 0, 5, it would just be y minus 5 equals -1. Now I'm going to put the x minus 0. Obviously, you don't need to put -0. You would just write y minus 5 equals -x and be done. Okay? Remember, speak up as soon as you have any questions. All right, now we're looking at 22. Now they don't give you the graph. Okay? So in order to write the equation, you need the slope. So let's do the slope first. So m equals 5 plus 3 over 4 plus 2. 8 over 6, 4 over 3. All right, so that slope is 4/3. Now you can either pick point number 1, you can pick point number 1, or you can pick point number 2. I'm going with the positives. All right, so again, I'm going to write it just to make sure. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 5 equals 4/3 times x minus 4. How's everybody doing? All right. Like I said, kind of quiet, which is perfectly fine. But speak up if you're not understanding something. All right. 23. Oh, now down here, this is saying point slope form. So that's good. The next lesson will be standard form, I'm sure. All right. So again, all right, we don't have to calculate the slope. All right. So in this case, they give us a slope and a point. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 2 equals -3 times x minus 2. All right, next, number 25. Now in this case, I truly want everybody to just say, okay, the slope is 0. We're just going to write y equals, and then whatever the y value is, -4. Okay? And if you recall, if the slope was undefined, that means it's a vertical line. If the slope is 0, it means it's horizontal. So all horizontal lines are y equals, all vertical lines are x equals, and vertical lines are said to be, the slopes are said to be undefined, okay? 27, again, real simple. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. Y minus 5 equals -2/5 times x plus 8. All right? Easy, very easy. All right, let's check out. Now, here's the problems. Okay, these are the ones that I wanted to double check because not many teachers make you write the standard form anymore. But standard form, if you recall, is ax plus by equals c. All right, then there's 3 rules. The first rule is a, b, and c must be relatively prime. All right, I'll explain, or I'll review that with you. Then we say that A, B, and C have to be integers. All right, A, B, and C have to be integers. And the last thing is that A has to be greater than 0. All right, A has to be greater than 0. All right, in other words, A has to be positive. A, B, and C have to be integers, with A being positive, and A, B, and C have to be relatively prime. Now, relatively prime just means, if I try to write this in standard form, 4x plus 8y equals -2. That's not standard form because I can divide everything through by 2, okay? So to write something in standard form, you always have to put x and y together. So in this case, we're going to go y minus 11, distribute the 3x minus 6. All right, now, because I want the x to be positive, I'm going to leave the x alone. I'm going to move the 6 over here, and I'll move the y over here. Remember, when you move things, you just change the signs. So keep in mind the x is first. So I'm going to write 3x. Now notice I picked up the y, and I moved it over with the 3x. So it was plus y, so over it's going to be a minus y. And then I added 6 to both sides, so -5. All right, that's been a while since we've done that. But does everybody see how I move things around? All right, I'm going to go back and erase this, okay, right here. And I'm going to show you again. All right, essentially what I did was I added I added 6 to both sides, and I subtracted y. So this became -5 equals 3x minus y. And of course, the 3x minus y is supposed to be written first, and the constant is written. Okay, hopefully that was good for everybody, bringing back good memories. All right, number 31 again, same process. Y plus 7 equals 2x plus 10. All right, I want the y on the right side. So 2x minus y, subtracting 10, 7 minus 10 is -3. And then we just rewrite it as 2x minus y equals -3. All right. Hopefully you're good with that. Now I want to take a look at 33 for a quick second. Now, 33 has a fraction. All right, so we're not allowed to have fractions written in standard form. So what we're going to do is, to eliminate the fraction, what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this by 4 and multiply this side of the equation by 4. Now when I do that, this 4 cancels out. All right, so now I'm distributing the 4 over here, so that becomes 4y plus 8 equals -3x minus 3. Okay, now what happens is the -3x has to move to the right side. So I have 3x plus 4y, and then the positive 8 moves over. So -3 minus 8 is -11. Okay, so that's how you handle the fraction. All right, anybody have any questions with the fraction? All right, here we go. Now 35, the decimal, it's always easier to work with fractions. So I'm just going to rewrite that as y plus 4 equals 3 over 2 times x plus 2. Now multiply both sides by 2. Multiply this side by 2, those cancel. And so now we have 2y plus 8 equals 3x plus 6. Now again, 3x minus 2y, subtract 6. So 3x minus 2y equals 2. Everybody okay? All right, now they're just going to go through again, slope-intercept form now. Slope-intercept, you just have to convert it to y equals mx plus b. So now we distribute the -5. And then all you do is you add 3. So now y equals -5x minus 57. Right? Everything's got to be written in slope-intercept form this time, which is y equals mx plus b. All right, let's take a look. Oh, I'm supposed to be doing the odd, so let's just go ahead and do 37. So y plus 1 equals -7x minus 7. Subtract 1. Y equals -7x minus 8. All right, everybody's good? All right, let's see what's next. Okay, that was the end of the fraction part. Now, the thing is, though, what I did was I went ahead and I'm going to go ahead and do some more practice problems of some of the things I thought when I looked over your quizzes and stuff, you might need some extra practice on. So I wrote these out, all right? And I want to go ahead and just work through these real quick. This isn't going to take us long, okay? So number 39. The absolute value of 5 times W. So absolute value of 5 times 0.4. All right, 5 times 0.4 is 2. Absolute value of 2 is 2. All right, 41. Absolute value of 9 times the y value, which is -3, minus the z value, which is -10. So it'd be plus 10. So now we just do the mental math. -27 plus 10 is -17. Absolute value of -17 is 17. All right, number 10, negative absolute value, 10 times -10 minus 31. All right, now be careful here. Negative absolute value, -100 minus 31, negative absolute value, -131. Absolute value of -131 is 131, but there's a negative out in front. So your actual answer is -131. Okay. So again, practicing your mental math, no reason for calculators. Let's look up here at solving equations. Remember, when you solve equations, absolute value, you write it just the way you see it without the absolute value. Then you write it again, but you set it equal to -2. So now when you solve, y is either equal to -1 or y is equal to -5. All right, now 47 is the one that's most commonly missed. All right, the reason most people miss it is because the absolute value is equal to a negative. Is it possible for the absolute value to equal a negative? And the answer is no. So 47 we say is no solution, right? Number 49, we have to isolate the absolute value. All right, so the first thing we have to do is divide by -5. So now we have 6a plus 2 equals 3. So now we can write 6a plus 2 equals 3. 6a plus 2 equals -3. Subtracting 1. 6a equals 1. So a equals 1/6. Subtract 2. 6a equals -5. So a equals -5/6. Still, anybody have any questions? All right, before we do our last little bit of work here. All right, last little bit of work. All right, now here, we're just solving for variables. All right, now again, most people are very good at this stage of the game, but I just want to review and make sure, okay? So if we're solving for t, that means we're trying to get t by itself. So to solve for t, we have to divide by IR. Divide by IR. So time is your principal divided by your interest rate, your I and your R. All right. Number 53, we're solving for x. So in order to solve for x, I have to get rid of dividing by 3 and adding y. So to do that, I'm going to multiply first both sides by 3. So I have x plus y equals 15. Now I just subtract y. So x is equal to 15 minus y. All right, 55, volume is length times width times height. So if I'm trying to figure out what L is, I would just divide by W and H. So our length is equal to our volume divided by the width times the height. 57, get rid of dividing by 2, and then get rid of x. So multiply both sides by 2. So 2a is equal to x plus y. Subtract x from both sides. So y equals 2a minus x. All right, 59, almost the same problem. Multiply both sides by 3. So 3a equals a plus b plus c. Since we're trying to solve for b, we're just going to subtract a and c. So b is equal to 3a minus a minus c. And don't forget, capital and lowercase are different, okay? So now what we're going to do is really super important for everybody to know how to write the equation lines. Those are the most important things. You're going to do that forever. All right. So just please review the video now. All right. When we meet again, I'm going to go ahead and do the evens for the next class. And what I'm going to do for you guys is give you a little bonus since you were here. All right. So I'm not sure what our test is, but you three will be getting, let's just say, +5, all right, when we have our first test. All right, so I appreciate you guys very much. All right, I'm glad you guys are safe. I really do appreciate you guys coming. All right, that is the end for today. I'm going to post it, all right, so those people who weren't here can watch it. But I appreciate you guys. Stay healthy.
Thank you. Mr. Stroud,
Yes, speak up.
can you review number 25?
Yes, I can do that. All right, I can definitely do 25 for you. Let's find it. All right. So, Luke, do you remember anytime your slope is 0, it's just a horizontal line?
Okay.
All right. And when you write a horizontal line, it's always y equals whatever the y value is. Okay, so your equation is just y equals -4.
Okay.
Right? So
So we know that because 0 is a horizontal line, so then what's a vertical line?
x equals.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this right here would be the equation y equals -4 and has a slope of 0.
Okay, so what would the slope be if it was a vertical line?
Right here, right here, undefined.
Okay.
All vertical lines have slopes that are undefined. Remember, it's like skiing down a mountain. That's how I used to tell kids. Vertical slope,
Okay.
all right, you can't ski down there. All right, so the slope is said to be undefined. And it's always x equals whatever the x coordinate is of the point.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Stroud.
You're welcome, Luke. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Stroud.
Patrick, you stay healthy too, buddy. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.